The 28th of May 2023, a day before the inauguration of Nigerian President Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his wife and First Lady of Nigeria, Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, said this:
Nigeria's wealth is the commonwealth of all. It belongs to everyone. God has blessed my family. We don't need the wealth of Nigeria to survive, but to do the right thing.
Now, if you don't believe her, here's some proof for you. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is said to be worth several hundreds of millions of dollars, a vast real estate holdings, as well as investments scattered around energy and a handful of other sectors of the Nigerian economy. But it's not only the president's family that has done well for themselves now. Here is Nyesom Wike, the current minister of the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. He's said to be one of the richest former governors in Nigeria. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is said to own several properties in Dubai. And there are lots of other politicians with business holdings and investments scattered around the country. This has left me wondering, if politicians are just public servants, why are they so rich and the people they serve so poor? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how these folks get to be so wealthy. We will look at the laws that have enabled some of these politicians to take advantage of the system and how this affects you, the average Nigerian. President Bola Tinubu worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Nyesom Wike worth millions of dollars. George Akume worth millions of dollars. Guess what all these men have in common? They are all career politicians who have been directly or indirectly involved in government since Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999. But there's another thing all three have in common that will be very relevant to our story much later, and that is they were all former governors of their respective states for 8 years. Now, while politics in Nigeria has become something for the highest bidder, there seems to be a reason why. That could be the high returns involved. And I'm not talking about the looting or embezzlement we immediately associate with politicians now. Rather, I'm talking about the insane salaries and allowances that these people accumulate throughout their time in office. Added to all of these benefits, some politicians have also found ways to build highly profitable companies from the ground up as a result of government contracts they get while in office. And when their time is up, they also get something called a severance package that is sometimes worth 300% of their basic salaries as presidents, governors, senators, or other political office holders. Now, let's start with the salaries and you'll see what I mean. This is Tunde, an average Nigerian graduate looking for a federal government job that pays the minimum wage, just so he can afford to feed and stop depending on his poor mother, who has been catering for his basic needs ever since his father died. Tunde's worth, according to the federal government of Nigeria, is 30,000 naira. That is less than $30 for an entire month's labor. Now, to put this in perspective, it would take Tunde 50 years of saving his entire salary to get 1 year's basic salary of a Nigerian senator that earns 1.5 million naira monthly and still gets another 52 million naira in office running allowances. And what is the job of this senator again? Yes, they made the law that kept the minimum wage at 30,000 naira, while JAS is set at 1.5 million naira per month. But then something crazy happened. There's this body saddled with the responsibility of determining how much is appropriate for political office holders in Nigeria, including the president, vice president, governors, deputy governors, ministers, even commissioners, and to cap it all, the legislators inclusive. This body is known as the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Their job, among others, is to monitor the increase and disbursement of revenue from the Federation account and reviewing from time to time the amount being allocated to different things, especially salaries. What happened was that this body woke up one morning and said that they realized that Nigerian politicians were suffering too much. So they needed to adjust the salary structure to help these politicians survive the difficult times we live in. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Guess what? They proposed a 114% increase in the salaries of these political office holders, including the president, vice president, governors, lawmakers, as well as judicial office holders. Remember Tunde with his 30,000 naira per month salary? He is not getting any of this increase, even though his cost of living just shot through the roof as a result of the recent removal of fuel subsidy, which I talked about in this video linked right up here. Well, Nigerians cried out and that salary review was later abandoned. But this didn't stop the politicians from getting something called hardship allowance. You see, aside from the ridiculously high salaries paid out to Nigerian politicians every month, they also get some allowances like utilities, entertainment recess, personal assistant, vehicle fueling, duty tour, domestic staff, vehicle maintenance, constituency allowance, wardrobe allowance, household maintenance, newspaper, periodic allowances, and a lot more. For the senators, these allowances amount to 52 million naira every year. But the ridiculous wealth of these politicians didn't just come from their salaries and allowances alone. Since Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999, a lot of money has been allocated to something called constituency projects, recommended by these lawmakers. However, as a result of corruption, embezzlement, and other financial malpractices, these projects are not even carried out. For instance, you often hear of empowerment programs that get commissioned all the time. These items are sometimes hoarded by sponsors and not distributed until the next budget cycle, where in some cases now, the same items are rebudgeted and duplicated. In recent years, the budget of